Today I have a new incomplete movie review. This is of the film called Amma Aryan. It was originally released in 1986. It's by John Abraham, who unfortunately died in 87. Now, what's special about this film is that it was just screened at Cannes Film Festival, I think on May 16th. A lot of Indian cinema is getting restored, and it's so beautiful to have that initiative happen. But unfortunately, um, nobody really gets to see it here. So I wish that films like this were more available for the public, especially given that this film was made by the public. It was funded by people and intended not for commercial purpose. So I think it's quite ironic that it was screened at Cannes, but also congrats to the team. Now, I did make a few notes. Here, I hope it's in focus. I made a few notes while watching the film, though I did stop once I got, I guess, more engaged. Though for me, the beginning was very, very captivating. I must say the film is visually stunning. The cinematography has a lot of this contrast, silhouette, light and shadow, and there's beautiful use of close-ups when required. I really like the kind of world it has built. Of course, it's super realistic. I mean, I would say it's reality in that sense, because even when I googled it, the film is documentary slash drama. The initial bit, what really stayed with me was the handheld shots. There was so much of movement, and the edit itself was, I would describe it as alive. It was very rich and moving, and I think Bina Paul can really edit. I mean, editing on a physical film is no joke. I've never done it. I've never even touched a physical film. So watching something like this is just, you can feel it. It's full of that youthful spark. You know, there's a creative spark when you're at that, I think at that age at least. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's still there for people. The film is intimate in that sense. It does follow a journey, and there's an interesting choice of using select foley and sound. You know, generally we're taught that, okay, you have to put sound for everything. If someone is walking, every footstep has to be there. If someone is doing something, that bush has to be there, and you have to give sound for everything. But here he's made a conscious choice not to do that for everything. And I think what that does for me as an audience is that it allows you to enter the person's world, internal world, quite soon. You know, you don't have to do much world building, you don't have to do much character building and explanation. You're kind of immediately, soon enough, you understand that you're in their world, and hearing, poetic kind of monologue does not feel jarring, really. In this review, I don't explain what happens in the movie. This is just about my impressions and what has stayed with me. So I think I did make some notes about the isolated sounds and the inner world. Loved it. And I think as a whole, the movie is striking in the way that it feels like it's able to capture that inner confusion, inner conflicts that you will have naturally all of us have them as we live, and it involves a lot of the past. It involves a lot of things around us. Whatever is happening, on a larger scale, worldly scale, political scenarios rolling out, it has those conflicts. It has the realism of the world when horrible things happen in the world, and then it also introduces your internal dilemmas, which are more nuanced but can be very confusing for all of us actually. So I think that it does beautifully. There are shots that visually I would describe them as dreamlike. Whenever I see a shot that is almost poetic, and it has that kind of, I don't know, there's something about it. For me, that's dreamlike. One more thing about this film is it does not follow a clearly linear structure where things just happen from one thing after the other in the present time. It does jump back, and it shows memories of others, and sometimes it does even seem like they could be dreams, but I think that's what's interesting about it when you watch it, and that's what I enjoy, that things can be open-ended in that sense. By the way, just a note, this framing was consciously chosen. I was a little inspired by accident, by the way. I had a mirror on my table, but I know that those of you who have watched the movie, that you will get it what I'm kind of doing here. Anyway, I think that was very obvious if you had watched it. If not, it might not make sense. But hey, it was inspired by Amma Aryan. Okay, bye.